Hello.
Hi, what's your name?
It's me, Andre.
Oh, hi Andre, how's it going?
It's going good. Okay, when I set my name like that just now, like it's me, Andre. It reminded me of I just saw this. You know how Disney Channel has their actors do like the fucking like Mickey like silhouette on screen as like ads. Like
Yeah.
it's me, bitch, and you're watching Disney Channel. Like okay, so I I just watched a Brenda song one because I guess she's back on Disney Channel doing like a voiceover for a cartoon. You know Brenda song like London Tipton.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So and yeah, it was like it was kind of a lot. Like I watched it and it was kind of cringy because like they were really trying to like make her like super like happy and smiley and I don't know. She's like an old ass adult now. Like I don't know, 30, 35. And, oh, by the way, she has a new movie out on Netflix. Apparently it sucks, but you go, girl. I mean, keep doing work. But anyway, the Disney Channel little segment was really cringy. She's like, um, "It's me, Brenda Song from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I mean, the whatever, like the new cartoon." And then she draws the silhouette. No, that's why she literally says that. She's like, "Oh, it's me from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I mean, blank." And then she draws a silhouette, and she's like does like a huge smile, and she's like, "Hey, it's good to be back." And I'm like,
Oh,
"What?"
I hate that. I hate that so
I'll send
much.
it to you. I know. I know. I just had this guttural reaction. I can't even explain it. I was like, something's off. Um,
She's like, I'm in my mid
but
30s and they're having me do this shit.
she literally did like a huge smile, like a little laugh, like, and I'm like,
I was like, ha ha ha, help
um.
me.
So that was my week. I haven't been able to stop thinking about that. What about you?
You've been thinking about that all week?
Yeah, it's just haunting me.
Okay, well, I have been thinking about my feet. They are kind of collecting an odor. I don't know, it's not like a sweaty odor, it's just a very distinct smell. And I don't know why it's happening
Hmm.
or what caused it. Maybe it's aliens. I don't know.
I mean, you know, they've manifested in weirder ways before, so I wouldn't be shocked. I
Do
guess,
you
but
think
like foot odor is a new one.
do you think it's demon possession?
I mean, it could be. You know, demons are evil. We all know that evil stinks. Literally, apparently, it smells like sulfur. I literally read that once, by the way, that like apparently demons smell like sulfur.
Yeah.
Like you know how like rotten eggs smell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Um, but I read that in like a medieval account though, like medieval, like a long ass time ago. But that's like a thing people wrote about.
you saying that proves to me that you've never seen the show Supernatural. And honestly, Andre, good.
I must have missed something, or maybe it's not in the first season because I did watch the first season a couple of years
Okay.
ago. I did stop, but I did watch that. Yeah.
You know,
What do you say? Good.
I watched probably 7 or 8 seasons and I wanted to stop at season 4 because after that it was all painful all the time. Terrible, terrible writing.
So you wanted to stop, but you kept going 3 more
You know
seasons.
what? When you're a sad, lonely person, you hit next. You know what I mean?
It's just inertia at that point.
Yeah, it's a coping mechanism, even if it's painful.
Is that show still going
Oh
on?
my god, I think they're finally ending it. I don't know if it already ended or what, because like it was gone in my heart after
That
season 4.
that is insane. Doesn't it have like 14 seasons or
Something
something
like
stupid
that.
like that?
You know, they milked that money cow. You know what I mean? They just kept on milking it until
But
it
it's
was
so
dead.
sad though. Like oh, by the way, welcome to Scary Talk, everyone, where we talk about TV shows and popular culture and nothing scary. But anyway, listen, I we should just rebrand our fucking podcast and be honest with ourselves. We're just the Britney something bullshit podcast. Okay, wait. So here's the thing, right? About like milking shows. Um, I think that a company does what it has to do and profits off its properties as much as it can. However, I really believe in letting something die with dignity. And
Yes.
I understand overextending something a little bit, kind of like a show overextending its stay in the public zeitgeist because, the company just couldn't resist. But companies aren't stupid. Like, they know when their shows are declining in quality. I feel like, I think they know. They must know. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they don't care though. I guess as long as the ratings keep coming in, maybe they don't care. But I was gonna say that I feel like they know their show's declining quality, and a little overextension, okay, sure, whatever. But like a lot overextension, like overextending a show by like 2, 3 more seasons than you can even write for, that you even have ideas for, and it's like these dry ass seasons, these boring ass episodes. Like I can't.
Try like 6 or 7 seasons overextended for Supernatural. Like that's how bad it was.
That sucks.
Yeah.
And you know what happens too? That like any existing like overarching like themes that could have possibly started when the show started, like its first season, there's no way they're still doing those like overarching themes like
Yeah.
13 seasons later. It sucks because like what happens is that like you almost feel like that arc was completed some seasons ago, and you're like, wait, so then why is this still why am I still watching? What they try to do is they try to replace those, you know, previously existing arches with the new ones. Like, oh, he has a stepbrother, he had one all along, and it's like, no, we don't care. Like
Yeah. Or they bring back dead characters that should have stayed dead.
yeah, and it's like, no, like the most to me the most salient example of this is the show Revenge, the ABC show
Oh, I've
Revenge,
heard of
which
that.
I loved. But even when I watched it as like it came out. I remember I was like a live fan, right? Like I would watch the episode every week. Fun fact, I watched that show. I like me and my sophomore like in high school, my sophomore English teacher, she'd also love that show, and so we'd watch it and then we'd talk about it the next day in class. It was funny.
That is really
Anyway, yeah, weird bonding experience. But anyway, I watched the show, and even I knew after the first season that like it really shouldn't go on, but I couldn't resist watching it, so I understand what you're saying. It went on for 4 seasons in the end, and the fourth season was super anticlimactic because they had to rush an ending basically.
Yeah.
Because they found out midway through their writers of the show found out midway through their fourth season that their fifth season had been canceled, and they had to wrap shit up, and it just felt so rushed. Anyway, it's based off of the Count of Monte Cristo, basically. It's a revenge story, right? Like a daughter tries to avenge his father who was betrayed by some family. The thing, though, is that show, like, worked perfectly as a one-season show. And you like, I felt it. Like, when the last episode, I was like, it literally could end here and it's perfect.
Yeah.
But then they overextended it. And, you know, like... by 3 seasons, that's a lot. I don't know. It's just some stories just really don't have to, like, some stories work great as movies.
Yeah.
You know, some stories are long as shit and you literally can't condense them into a movie. There are stories that are the opposite and people try to overextend them to shit.
Yeah, they do. Because they know that they can. And that people will watch them.
It's just tragic. Like, Glee was tragic. Like, that show should have had 3, 4 seasons at most, and it ended up having like 6. It was just bad. A lot of the characters left. Like, once that guy died, like Finn, you know, like Lea Michelle's then boyfriend in real life, by the way, also very tragic. Like, I feel like that should have been like I don't know. It's just fucking weird. It just sucks because you can tell, like, quality just keeps going down and down and down. And movie franchises do the same thing. It's not as noticeable because a movie is much more of an event than like a new season of a show is, unless it's like, I don't know, Game of Thrones. But like, still, you can see that a lot of franchises that are very like long lived, the movies just keep going down and down and down, and they're just trying to like milk this cow that's like on its deathbed. Like, I watched the new Men in Black movie. The first 2 were really good. Like, they're great. The third one was okay. This new movie is shit. Like, it has no funny at all. The protagonists have no chemistry. I was like, this sucks. But
Well.
it has Chris Hemsworth in it, so people are going to pay to go see it.
Yeah, that's a bummer. All right, welcome to Scary
Anyway.
Talk.
Oh my God. Welcome to Scary Talk. We'll just cut all that shit out. Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to episode 34.
What's
Today we are
scarier
talking
than
about
Glee?
the mysteries of space. I think that's what we should title it. I think originally we were gonna go for the horrors of space, but I don't know that my topics are necessarily like horrific. So
I see what you mean. How about the
Yeah.
horrors of my ass in space?
I can't wait to hear this. You go first. Actually, I want to hear what you have.
Okay, well, it's definitely not about my ass. Unless you want to hear about
Well,
that.
I want to hear it anymore.
All right, all right. So I want to. It's just so weird me going first. Like, do people actually want this? No one asked for this, Andre.
Oh my god. I could like make you say hello first in an episode and you'd be like, Andre, no one wants that. Like, calm down, go.
Hello.
Next episode next episode I'm fucking making you doing that. You're gonna hello.
Oh, I'm gonna mix it up.
And you have to do my stupid fucking little laugh too. That hello. That shit.
Hi, guys. This is Andre.
Yep, that's me.
All right, so.
Say something I would say.
Yeah, exactly. I hear you say that all the time.
So wait, say something I would say.
Okay. It's Britney, bitch.
I mean, I say that to myself in the mirror, but I wouldn't say that on the podcast. Come on, Shannon.
Oh, you mean
anyway,
on the
go ahead.
podcast? Okay. Well, personally, I believe it's real. I'm fully convinced. You don't have to tell
That's
me
funny.
twice.
That's pretty
I'm
good, actually.
already in my freaking, what is it called? Panic room. That's Andre.
Wow. Wow, you know me so well.
Yeah, isn't that accurate? All right.
Who would think 33 episodes of talking to someone and you know them this well? Wow.
I know, amazing. I will say, I don't know why this is coming up right now, but Andre makes some pretty good lemonade. We would like drink lemonade and discuss conspiracies, and that's what I think of when I think of Andre is lemonade.
Oh, that's so cute. I actually never heard that, Shannon. That's so sweet. I don't know if I ever told you this. I must have told you that like my lemonade was literally fucking like powder
No,
lemonade.
I know that.
But
I of course know that. It's still delicious.
but I did slice. It was really sweet. But I did slice like the little lemons in there, like that give it like a cute touch.
Yeah.
That's cute. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. You're right. Okay, stop. I'm gonna stop like patting myself. Go ahead.
It's like a fresh little take on it. Okay, so totally unrelated to lemons. We're not going to have a segue this time. I'm sorry. I want to talk about the WoW signal, which I'm sure everyone has heard of. But have you heard of this?
Yeah, isn't that a Lily Allen album?
Oh, you know it might be. I'm not sure. I'm not really
Nah,
a fan.
I'm fucking with you. Wow. Okay. Whatever.
So I think most people have heard of this. It's one of those things that's circulating the internet, and it is real. However, I thought we should talk about it because recently, I believe it's 2019, someone came up with a plausible explanation for it. However, is it an explanation? I don't know. You can decide, Andre.
Ooh.
Andre's gonna say it is. Isn't. Sorry. All right. So, the WoW signal was a strong narrowband radio signal received on August 15th of 1977. It was heard in the Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope in the US. Big Ear, E-A-R, and that's a telescope. So it basically was used to support the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And the signal appeared to come from a constellation called Sagittarius, and it was basically, it's hard to explain. The best way I can explain it is very, very casually. This astronomer Jerry Ehman, I think that's how you say his name. Jerry Ehman, he discovered the signal while reviewing the recorded data from the Big Ear radio telescope, and all he did was he wrote "Wow!" exclamation point on its side because he had noticed that it was an anomaly. And that's what they call it, the WoW signal. So, what was it that he saw that was so amazing? So the entire signal sequence lasted 72 seconds, during which the Big Ear telescope was able to observe it, but it has not been detected since, and it's been almost, is it over 20 years? No, 50 years. 1977, we're in 2019. I can't do math. So, this unexplained signal, this like either noise, this interference, something happened that basically was our best evidence that there was something out there that was not us, that was not just, I don't know, what could make a noise and then just disappear, and we can never find another noise similar to it. Anyway.
An alien beluga whale. They are very rare, and they also make weird noises that we hear deep in the ocean, and we're like, "What was that?" Oh, it was a beluga whale. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Or it could be like space tortoises. I don't know. All right, so
It could be me crying in sadness because Nicki Minaj is retiring from music. Quick segue, by the way. That is true, but not a joke, and I'm fucking like devastated. Anyway, let's keep going.
what if it's just a conspiracy? What if she's saying that so that you'll get super hyped when her new album drops in 2 years?
Oh my god, okay, someone literally said that. What if she's saying that because she's like shadow dropping an album next week and she just wants people to like get hyped?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hope, because I hate this.
And the
I'm
album
depressed.
is called Retirement.
Oh no.
Oh gosh, that would be
Anyway.
really dumb, but I don't know. That's kind of sad. Okay, so
I know. Okay, make me happy, please.
I don't know if I can do that. All right, so many hypotheses have been discussed on the origin of the emission, including natural and human-made, but none of them adequately explain what the signal was or how it came from this random constellation called Sagittarius. So it was also not containing any encoded information. So, with all of that in mind, our best guess is probably an alien radio transmission, something that was sent out either many, many years ago and finally hit us and we saw it, or we heard it and then never again, or it was just a random anomaly that we don't have an exclamation for. Maybe it was like a sun exploding, but wouldn't that sound a little bit different? I don't know. It was just 72 seconds of just unexplainable noise, you know? Okay, so here's what people thought about it, namely people who are more qualified than me to say anything. So Cornell University physicist Philip Morrison and Giuseppe? I don't know how to say that. Cocconi had speculated that any extraterrestrial civilization attempting to communicate with radio signals might do so using a frequency of 1420 megahertz, which is naturally emitted by hydrogen, the most common element in the universe and therefore likely familiar to all technologically advanced civilizations. And that will come into play a little bit later. So what they're saying is it could have been hydrogen. And that's something that it might be, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so the biggest misconception about this is that the WOW signal is some sort of message, but what it appears to be is just a continuous wave signal with no information, basically just a flash of radio energy. If you look it up, because you can see it, like the image of when he wrote WOW next to the radio wave, it says 6.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
It says 6EQUJ5, and that's only it's like an explanation of the signal intensity over time, but it's not like what it says. It's not a code. It's just the way that they measured the signal, basically. So we know it's not a message, so
I'm sorry, are you talking math? Because my brain literally shut down. Like, I can't.
I don't think that radio and like signals and all this audio stuff is math necessarily. It's just, I don't know, what would you call that?
Okay,
Audiology?
okay. I'm back up and running.
Yeah, we're not talking about math, don't worry.
No, I know what. No, I'm kidding. I know what you're saying. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we know that it came somewhere in the vicinity of the constellation of Sagittarius, but the precise location, meaning if we were to try to pinpoint like a planet or something, which is obviously what we'd be looking for, either that or like a satellite, it's not easy to do. It's still uncertain. Because the Big Ear telescope itself, which is what picked this up to begin with, it has 2 horns, and each receive a beam from slightly different directions following the Earth's rotation. So it was detected in one beam, but not in the other. And so it's kind of impossible to determine which of the two horns it received the signal from. And so that's why we only have a vague idea of where it's located, which is highly unfortunate. But, I mean, we narrowed it down to a constellation, so that's something.
Yeah.
Okay, so Eamon, the guy who originally discovered it and wrote WoW next to it, he tried for a long time to try and find the signal again, or at least explain the signal. He would check, like, searching for months, and he just didn't find anything. So it does seem like it was an anomaly. And this is just like a fun fact. In 2012, on the 35th anniversary of the WoW signal, the Arecibo Observatory beamed a digital stream toward the area of the signal's origin, and it consisted of 10,000 Twitter messages solicited by the National Geographic Channel bearing the hashtag chasing UFOs. And so to like increase the probability that any aliens would recognize the signal as intentional communication, the Arecibo scientists attached a repeating sequence header to each individual message, and they beamed the transmission like around 20 times the wattage of the most powerful commercial radio transmitter. So if any aliens managed to notice that, it would just be a bunch of Twitter nonsense from a bunch of random people. Which is, you know, a good example of our society, I think.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Wow, this is humanity." Okay, well, time to kill them all, I guess.
Yeah. So, what do you think so far? Do you think it was like an alien ship or something?
I mean, I have already heard, like, I heard not too long ago, like, oh, the WoW message, turns out there was an explanation to that. So I already have some insight, but because, like, years ago, I found out about this, and I was like, oh my god, that totally sounds like an alien transmission. But then someone said that there was actually, like, a scientific explanation for it, a non-paranormal explanation. And I don't know what the explanation is, but I know that there is one. So, actually, that's never stopped me before. Yeah, it was fucking aliens.
Oh my god, that's it. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I was like, excuse me, who are you? You are not Andre. Okay, so
I have been cloned.
they put your
I am dead. This is my clone, Andre Vandella.
It's like a Melissa Vandella. Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
This is Avril Lavigne's clone's brother. That's me.
Wait, when are you seeing her again?
I am seeing Avril Lavigne. The fuck this in 2 weeks? 2 weeks?
Oh
2
my
weeks?
god.
Yeah,
2 episodes from now, we get to hear what you think of the clone. Wow, amazing.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know how she performed. If she measured up.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's jump into what that supposedly reasonable explanation is. This was posted by Daniela Brightman in the space section of earthsky.org in 2017. It's an article called "Wow Signal Explained After 40 Years?" Question mark? Question mark indeed, Daniela. So, basically what happened in 2017 is that this adjunct professor of astronomy at St. Petersburg College in Florida, Antonio Paris, he basically found a discovery, or I mean, if you can call it discovery. He proposed that the 1977 WoW signal was most likely generated by a comet.
By a what?
By a comet.
Okay.
And so this is how he figured this out. He and his team learned that two comets, 266P Christensen and P2008Y2, were passing through the part of the sky the Big Ear Radio Observatory was surveying when the WoW signal was noticed. So they believe that there was a hydrogen cloud accompanying one or the other comet, and this would explain why the WoW signal was not measured again. The comet that caused it moved on in its orbit. And that's a direct quote. So, well, remember, earlier on...
Or...
What?
Go ahead.
Earlier on,
Go ahead.
one of the scientists in the 1950s proposed that a signal like that would come from hydrogen. So it's not that far off.
I mean, it's not. Like, what you're saying makes sense, and it relates back to what the scientist said in the 1950s. The problem is that it sounds boring. I don't want reality. Who told you that? I want to be entertained.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. But maybe I can help to ease this pain if we just keep moving forward.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so with this theory in mind, he and his team began to survey the region of the sky around Sagittarius once again. They used a 10-meter radio telescope, and then basically they waited for the comets to pass through that region one more time, and they determined that the signal did match with the WOW signal. However, the original signal from 1977 was stronger than this signal, and his team tried to explain this away by saying, well, ours was a lot smaller than the Big Ear telescope with less sensitivity. And so that is one thing to keep in mind, and they do admit that it's not certain that it was actually the comet. Like, we genuinely don't know, but this is like a pretty good theory. His observations as well were not published in any journals or anything. It appears online in a non-profit organization called the Center for Planetary Science, but aside from that, we still don't really know, and it's still considered a hypothesis. And here is why I wouldn't put too much stock into it. So
Ooh, okay.
he proposed this in 2017, but the hypothesis doesn't sit well with a lot of people, and I mean, obviously, because one, it's not that fun, but also because they did do a more detailed analysis that shows that the comets were not actually in the beam at the correct time in 1977. Furthermore, comets are not radio bright at these frequencies, and there is no explanation for why a comet would be observed in one beam, but not in the other. And that's from Wikipedia, who knows everything.
Dude, hell yeah. I'm telling you, it was the last cry for help of a dying alien civilization, and before they died, before they collided into something or something killed them, for 72 seconds they were like, help, but their language was like, bzzz. So, yeah.
Or maybe it was like a dying civilization, and in those last 72 seconds, they put their last baby inside of a rocket ship and they sent it to Earth, and that baby becomes Clark Kent.
What the fuck does that radio signal have to do with
Andre, this is a very well-known DC reference to Superman. I need you to just follow it. I need you to be a bigger nerd than you are.
No, I know that. I know fucking Superman, but I don't get it. Like, that would make a sound. I'm confused.
Maybe it would. Okay, but like, we already know it's not a message, so it can't be them screaming and dying, you know what I mean? Unless that's their...
I guess.
I don't know. Just be a bigger nerd.
Interesting. Well, I like that. I like how you ended that topic, because gives me hope.
Yeah, and Wikipedia does have a point. They have a point, and I'm here for it because I don't know. It just intrigues me, and I feel like it defies explanation. So it could be anything, and when something can be anything, that's when I'm very interested.
Have you heard of I forget what it's called, like the boom or something else? It's another like one word signal basically, but it's from like deep under the sea, and it's like, I don't know, it happened like some years ago, like maybe 10-15 years ago, and these like marine biologists, I guess they were in a submarine, and they caught wind of this like big ass sound, and it was like literally like a big ass sound, like that's what they call like the boom or something.
I know what that was.
And they were like, what?
That was me jumping into the ocean.
I thought you were gonna see a beluga whale. Turns out it was not a beluga whale. No, they don't know what it is. Like, to this day, they don't know what it is. Like, whatever emitted that sound had to have been like 3 times as big as a blue whale. So they were perplexed, and they still are to this day. And I'm telling you, the Kraken is fucking real. Okay.
The Kraken is real, and it's me.
The Kraken is real, and we eat its babies because they're delicious. Because the Kraken's babies are shrimp and octopi, and that's how that works. The
Giant
Kraken is just the queen bee. What?
giant squids, like they do exist. Like they're huge. Like I just feel like
No, I know, but not
I mean
like
like a
that huge.
bigger,
Like they're
bigger.
not like. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like 3 times as big as a blue whale, and the blue whale is literally the biggest animal on Earth. So,
Yeah, I think it's possible. We haven't explored the deep sea like we should. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't think the Kraken literally like it has to be literally the Kraken, but I think that there are some strange, even bigger, more massive animals that we may just not know. Like we really have not explored that. Really seriously, we have not. We've explored like 5 to 10% of our oceans, literally.
There could literally be anything
And
down
I
there.
find that I know, and I find that so crazy because we feel like we know everything that's down there, and we literally don't, and we find stuff all the time, and we get like amazed by it, like, oh, an octopi that's like translucent and also rainbow color, like, and we're like, see, like, that's proof that we don't know shit, and here we are trying to like go out into space, which like, I mean, it makes sense. We're trying to go out into space because we need to like a place to colonize since we poisoned our planet, but like, it's a more practical use of our time to explore space than explore the ocean, sure. I mean, unless you believe in underwater cities, I don't know. But still, I feel like it's important to explore our oceans.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Michael Jackson has been down there all along.
Yep. Hee hee.
Ew. All right, do you want me to cover my next topic
s-
or do you want to go?
No, actually, yeah. I think we should go like bounce. So, here I'll cover one of mine. I love how yours are like so scientific, because mine's literally like. Well, okay. Hi everyone. Today I'm talking about the Apollo 18 mission slash the movie they made about it and why it's all real. So, in
Wow.
case you haven't heard, um, the Apollo, because people know Apollo 13 because of the movie with Tom Hanks, iconic. But they don't know that there were 4 other missions after Apollo 13. So Apollo 17 was the last mission, and it was sometime in the early to mid 1970s that they went up to the moon for the last time with Apollo 17. Now, what happens? At the time when that mission ended, I believe it was in 1971. I want to say that's when it was, but it was basically early 70s. When that ended, NASA already had started funding Apollo 19 through 20, and they had already started training astronauts for Apollo 18 through, yeah, Apollo 18 through 20 is what they funded, and they were training astronauts for Apollo 18 and 19. So they were like thinking ahead and already prepping everything. So what happens? Apollo 17 ends, they're doing all this work, but then the government doesn't fund them as much as they expected they were going to be funded for that fiscal year, I guess. And so they have to drop the ball on that, which kind of sucks because, space exploration is cool. I know I was just trashing it a moment ago, but like it is a cool thing, and like looking at the moon and shit and learning more about it is important. Anyway, so I guess like the general public lost interest in the moon once we set foot on it because people are stupid, and so the government was like, I don't know that we see much use in this, and so they didn't fund NASA very much after that. What happens? People speculate that Apollo 18 did take place and that NASA just didn't tell people. Now, why didn't they tell people? Well, there's two conspiracy theories. There's a conspiracy theory that Apollo 18 happened, and within that conspiracy theory, there are 2 branches for the reason why it was hidden. The first branch is the one I want to talk about the most. The second branch is that it was a failed mission, so either the astronauts just died a very uneventful death on the way there, thing like Challenger style, like the spacecraft failed and so they died, or yeah. And the first branch, the one that I want to talk about, is well, you can guess what it is. um, okay, so this, okay, and the thing is that this theory got a movie basically, like, the Weinstein Company, lit, made a movie about this in 2011, and it was called Apollo 18. And I saw it, and it was really shitty, but it was kind of entertaining, and it really got my brain thinking. And here we are, 8 years later, and talking about this. So like basically this movie explores that theory, and to not keep like beating around the fucking bush, like the theory is that Apollo 18 found aliens on the moon, and the aliens killed the astronauts, and the corpses are still there, and there are aliens on the moon, and they eat people. So um
Um.
um
uh,
and the Apollo 18 movie, what I love about it too is that it's not just like a movie, but it's like one of those found footage movies, because back in the early 2010s, that was like all the rage. And not only is it like a found footage movie, but it's one that has the balls to claim that it has real footage, but like, honey, like obviously you don't. Like,
yeah.
this isn't real footage. Like, um, yeah, like the Blair Witch is believable, but like this shit, like NASA hid this for years, and we found the footage. Like, bitch. Okay. Anyway, um, it's so weird because like there's like production credits and like direction credits and all kinds of shit on IMDb on like the internet that you can find information on, but like the marketing campaign when the movie was coming out, they were still like, no, like, like it's real. And if they weren't saying it was real, they were definitely saying that, well, this isn't real. NASA definitely has footage of this that they're hiding, the real footage of the real Apollo 18 mission. And NASA was like, the fuck? Like, no, we don't. um, Exploring the moon is really fucking boring. We don't have anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, because this movie has like aliens straight up like jumping on people's faces and fucking killing them. Like, it's a lot. Anyway, so what happens? So I guess, okay, so I shouldn't talk about the movie really. I should talk about the theory. The movie is whatever. They made a movie about the theory, but what matters is the theory. So the theory basically says that, like I said, due to budgetary constraints, the other two missions ended, but NASA was like, no, like, we want to explore some more. I mean, some people say that they actually had something specific in mind, that not just general exploration, but they thought that they had found something or seen something on some of like their radars, and so they needed astronauts to go up there one more time to like verify.
Did they see the man on the moon?
Yeah, to like that's funny, to like verify whatever it is NASA thought they had found. Like, basically, it's weird. There's like a lot of branches, right? Like, there's a theory of Apollo 18 existed. Then within that, there's two branches. Apollo 18 existed and it was hidden because aliens, or it was hidden because it was a failed mission. And then if you go with the aliens branch, there's two branches within that. It is like NASA knew there were aliens in Apollo 17, but they like didn't want to risk their crew because it was too important or something, and so they brought them back and instead decided to send like a guinea pig crew in Apollo 18. Or NASA knew nothing during Apollo 17. Once Apollo 17 ended, they found something in like their data or their radars or something, and then they decided to send Apollo 18, not a guinea pig crew, just a legitimate crew, and they didn't expect them to die at all, but they did. So, see, there's like a lot of branches. There's like a lot of sub theories depending on what you believe. I am a crazy person, so I'm gonna go with Apollo 18 is real, and I'm gonna go with the aliens branch, and I'm gonna go with NASA knew that they were gonna die, and they basically sent guinea pigs to the moon. We're already like down the road. We're not even. We live with the rabbit now in the hole, like literally. So. Thoughts so far? And I'm throwing a lot at you.
I think that there's a lot of theories about the moon that I like and I would like to explore further, but aliens being on the moon is not one of them, and I don't know what it is about that, but I would sooner buy that the moon is like, what is it? They think it's like an alien spaceship. I would sooner buy that for some reason.
Oh, yeah, I've heard
It
that.
doesn't do anything up there.
I've heard that. There's
It's not doing anything. Like, I feel like if there were alien spiders, wouldn't they show themselves?
I mean, I don't know. Do spiders show themselves very often? They're very sneaky.
They show themselves to me all the time.
Right before you squash the life out of them?
I don't always have the balls for that, Andre.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say yes, and then I was gonna say I'm calling PETA. Hashtag veganism. Anyway, so yeah, so that's basically the theory. Okay, now let me. Okay, wait. What you said about the spaceship? That's super funny. I've heard about that.
Yeah.
There are people that are like super dumb, and they think that the fact that we can't see the other side of the moon, the dark side of the moon, like means that it's a spaceship because they don't understand how like rotation works. Anyway, whatever. Oh well, like how, they don't understand like specifically how the rotation in relation from like the Earth to the moon works, whatever. But yeah, I have heard that. That's really interesting, but really dumb. But this is, I think, less dumb because we have found like weird shit on the moon. We have found more weird shit on Mars, so Mars would definitely be more plausible. I mean, even the concept of Martians, is a thing, whereas the concept of like lunars, like isn't a thing. Like people
Yeah.
have never thought of the moon as a place where aliens live. But I mean, this is just kind of like a janky, weird theory that I wanted to talk about. But so, that's the theory so far. Something that NASA said when the movie came out that I thought was really sad was like the movie had this like scientist basically that they hired going around giving interviews being like basically what I told you earlier, like they weren't going to push the real angle anymore because they looked too ridiculous doing that, but they did have the scientist being like, listen, well, this movie is a mockumentary. um, I definitely think that there's a possibility that NASA could have real footage of a real Apollo 18 mission that
Oh
they're
my
just hiding
gosh.
from the public for nefarious reasons. And this guy was like, like an accredited person with some degree in something, like a scientist. And I'm like obviously, I don't know, like me, I kind of just say shit because it's funny. Like I don't actually believe this, but like
Yeah.
it's just like I'm sure there are some people that actually do, and I'm sure that like this scientist being interviewed by like anyone who would put a microphone in front of him didn't help because he was he's spouting all this like, and NASA had to put out a statement being like, in choosing how to respond to the Apollo 18 marketing campaign, we were very wary of severing a relationship with the filmmakers. Oh, because they had apparently read the initial script of the movie, and also they allowed the movie to use the NASA logo, and also
Oh.
they lent the movie a lot of actual moon footage because they thought that the Weinstein Company, it makes sense that NASA would do that because the Weinstein, movie company, like it's really big. It's not just some indie fucking filmmaking industry like company. And so they approached NASA with an idea of a movie, and so of course NASA was going to be like, oh, like maybe they'll want to like tell people more about space, like, oh, sure.
Yeah.
um I guess they read an initial script that must have been very misleading, and they kept going. But then the movie actually came out, and I guess they caught wind of this, and NASA was like, when we caught wind of this, we didn't like it, but we didn't want to sever our relationship with the filmmakers. They said we were hesitant to back out because of concerns that would feed into the marketing of conspiracy theories. We were in a difficult situation, and when I read that, I just felt so bad for NASA because I
Yeah.
feel like people blame them for all kinds of stupid fucking shit. Like the moon is a hologram, the Earth is flat, there are aliens on the moon is a fucking spaceship, like the moon is made out of cheese, and it's just like NASA's just like, can people just like read books and like can they just be interested in space like without all the extra shit? Like space is interesting as is. I feel like NASA's just a bunch of like really like sweet nerds sitting around a table like trying to like build rockets, and meanwhile there's people that are like, you fucking nerds, you're building bullshit, like the moon is a hologram anyway, and they're like
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
kind of what it feels like to me.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not wrong. I feel bad for them now.
Yeah, so this movie like kind of bullied NASA because they were like, they took what they could from them, like their logo and permission to use some footage, and then they turned this movie into basically the Blair Witch Project on the moon. And NASA didn't like this, but like poor NASA knew that if they I mean they're smart. They know the rule of the internet and the rule of censorship. As soon as you try to distance yourself from something or suppress something that is sounds bad about you, more of it is going to come out. And so they decided to not sever ties. So they wouldn't be more like bus, but by not doing so, they kind of had to swallow the fact that they were kind of affiliated with this stupid fucking movie. um,
Yeah.
but I mean, this does take me to the notion of aliens in Mars, and I wouldn't say on Mars, and I wouldn't say necessarily that there are aliens there now, although that's more plausible than them being on the moon. However, I I definitely believe that there was life on Mars at some point. I mean, Mars had oceans, vast oceans apparently. Water usually carries I mean, well, water doesn't mean life, but water definitely carries life. And we started in water as very, very tiny microorganisms. So if it was gonna start anywhere on any of our solar system planets, it would have to be Mars, because it's the only one that we know that had viable oceans at some point, oceans in which life could grow if it came about somehow. We still don't know how life comes about. Um, but I don't know about like little green
Yeah.
Martians. So anyway, yeah, there's spider aliens on the moon, and they're gonna eat you if you go. Your
What? That
turn.
was the end? I want to hear more. Okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
I just feel.
Well, I mean, like, what do you want to hear about? Like, I can tell you more about the theory, but like, I mean, I already said
Yeah.
myself, like, I don't know about this. I just kind of wanted to like throw that
Yeah.
out there, but I don't really believe in it. But like, if you want to know more, like, I mean, yeah, like they went to the moon. They got killed by aliens. Some people say that NASA actually, like, obviously has the footage of this, and that somehow they obtained one of the alien specimens. I'm not sure how. Maybe they sent another mission. I am very confused. Or that maybe the mission, one of the astronauts, one of the 3 or 4 that they sent out, that they did survive, and that they were able to obtain some kind of sample of one of the aliens. I'm not sure how big these aliens were, if they put an alien in a jar or if they just cut like an arm off. I'm not sure. And that NASA does have these like samples to work with, to analyze, to study. That's the actual end of the theory. And that once they had that, they had no reason to continue the Apollo missions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't know about that, Chief, but
I mean, that's definitely it's interesting. I don't know. What if we have an episode where we just like use movies that have like been released and pretend like that's actual history and see how the world would actually look? Because like what is that movie The Martian with that dude with the forehead? Who is that guy?
the what head? What did you
The
say?
dude with the forehead? Matt Damon. That's
Oh,
who
the
that
dude with
is.
the forehead. What's wrong with his forehead?
I don't know. It's a very noticeable forehead. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that's how I identify him. Matt Damon.
That's
Yes.
funny.
So maybe he's on Mars while Apollo is getting annihilated by
I
aliens.
mean, yeah. I mean, we don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, you go next.
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit more science-y, which is kind of why I was like, oh, spook me, Andre, but it's okay. This is kind of spooky in its own right. I remember telling you about this yesterday, and I made a really gross joke, so this is about the dark flow.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, so I found this under a listicle. We love listicles, don't we, Andre?
Yes, we do.
So, the 10 spookiest unsolved mysteries in space. This was published on Sci-Fi Wire by Elizabeth Rain. So, I'm gonna read fully this paragraph that she wrote because I really like it. So, here we go. There is an invisible hand grabbing at the Milky Way's proverbial shirt collar in the dark. Go ahead and imagine it as grotesque as possible, with warts, claws, and all, because what it could be doing is infinitely scarier. Something out there is possibly exerting an unnaturally strong gravitational pull that is slowly dragging our galaxy towards inevitable doom. Dark flow was the identifier given to this mysterious force by astronomers who just had to give it a dark name in homage to every other unexplained thing in the universe. Science believes this disembodied hand belongs to something else that may or may not exist. Cosmic megastructures, for instance. These theoretical bodies are supposedly lurking beyond the visible horizon and using the force of gravity exerted by their mammoth size to drag us somewhere unknown. Thankfully, their existence also remains unknown. Okay, so what do you think so far?
I think God just put on the invisibility cloak and is pinching the universe's ass because he's a creep.
Maybe, that's a good theory. I mean, it's better than anything I've come
And,
up with yet.
and when he does it, he accidentally like takes little chunks off, and the chunks disappear.
Okay, so to get more sciencey, we're just going to go back to Wikipedia for this. Our trusted Wikipedia. So in astrophysics, dark flow is a theoretical non-random component of the peculiar velocity of galaxy clusters. Do you know what that means? Because I sure don't. The actual measured velocity.
No.
The actual measured velocity is the sum of the velocity predicted by Hubble's law plus a possible small and unexplained or dark velocity flowing in a common direction. So the motion of these galaxy clusters, with respect to the cosmic microwave type background, are randomly distributed in all directions. So basically, when they're talking about the invisible hand pulling us or pushing us in a direction, that's what it's talking about. There's something that we can't quite explain yet, the dark flow, that is pushing these clusters of our galaxy in multiple directions with no actual understanding of where they're going or why it's happening. It's just this force. And so, let's see. There is evidence of this. Some astronomers, Alexander Kashlinsky, F. Atrio Banderella, D. Kosevsky, and H. Ebling found evidence of a surprisingly coherent 600 to 1,000 kilometer flow of clusters toward a 20-degree patch of sky between two constellations. And they're just like, well, why is this occurring? And so some researchers had suggested that the motion, this push/pull, may be remnant of no longer visible regions of the universe prior to inflation. So what that means is after the Big Bang, when the universe became transparent, the stuff that exploded and was destroyed, that could potentially be pushing us through, if that makes sense. It's like an invisible universe. It's pushing us apart. But we wouldn't be able to see it.
Are you a songwriter now?
Am I a what?
Are you a songwriter now?
What is that?
An invisible universe that is pushing us apart. A songwriter.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. I thought you said thong writer. I'm like, I don't know. So they think that the dark flow is flowing towards the Centaurus and Hydra constellations. This corresponds with the direction of the Great Attractor, which is a gravitational mystery as well, which was discovered in 1973. So the Great Attractor was thought to originate from a massive cluster of galaxies called the Norma Cluster, located 250 million light years away from Earth. That, it's stuff is being attracted to it. And that brings in the other question of why is everything going towards these constellations and the Great Attractor? What is there? Like, are we going to reach the end of it and we just fall into a pit of non-existence?
Ooh, gothy. I love it.
I don't know. Okay. Let's see. So, let me just see if I can decipher this. So, in a study from March 2010, Kalinsky extended his work from 2008, and he doubled the number of galaxy clusters observed from the original 700. So possibly 1,400 galaxy clusters moving in this dark flow and being pushed by something. And so, with over 1,000 being measured, some as distant as 3 billion light years, Kalinsky claims that these measurements show that the universe's steady flow is not a statistical fluke, it's something that's actually happening. And he says, at this point, we don't have enough information to see what it is or to constrain it. We can only say with certainty that somewhere very far away, the world is very different than what we see locally. Whether it's another universe or a different fabric of space-time, we don't know. So, some people think that this invisible force, this dark flow, is just not, I don't want to say the upside down, but something like that, like a parallel universe that's running with ours, and that's why it's we can't see it, but it's constantly affecting us and pushing us towards this direction. And the reason they think that is because it's potentially reminiscent of other galaxies that were exploded or destroyed, or even just, whatever was reminiscent of the Big Bang. So it's because where does non-existent stuff go in space? Because space is already nothing. And then we also learned that this flow is also supposedly nothing, but it's not nothing because it's moving us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's a big monster hand pushing us towards something. Maybe it's a parallel universe. Maybe it's an alternate universe. I don't know.
I mean, if I had to get all paranormal, I would say it like I said. I mean, maybe it's not the hand of God. Maybe it's just like the hand of the devil, like pushing us towards, I don't know, like a black hole pit. But in all reality, it probably is just, I don't know. It's just like part of the mystery of dark matter. Like it's literally the shit that we can't see, but that we know is present in the universe because it pulls like it has gravitational pulls in all sorts of directions, and like
Yeah.
it like there's another other way that you can explain those gravitational pulls in all sorts of directions unless there was mass there that you just can't see. And so it's most likely that in a really big scale. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I just find that really fascinating. I feel like it, like I said, if you can't see it, then it could be anything. And so I like to imagine everything crazy possible.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it is really fascinating because, like,
maybe it's,
I mean, like you said, you can literally think of anything because you can't see it, and that's kind of spooky and really curious, really peculiar. But go ahead.
what if it's the souls of every living creature and human being that's ever existed in our galaxy? It
That,
just becomes this dark matter that pushes us.
that's what I'm saying. You really can think of anything. I love that, by the way. That's really spooky, really creepy. I kind of go with that. I found out about. Have you ever read Andy Weir's short story, The Egg?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's good. I'll send it to you. But it basically is like an interpretation of what happens after you die that is really fucking bonkers. I'm gonna get into like a whole thing if I talk about it now, so maybe I'll mention it in some other episode or I'll just send it to you. But it's really interesting. It made me think of that when you mentioned like maybe that's what happens. Maybe souls are just that's why they become dark matter. That's a really interesting
Yeah.
interpretation. Very original. I guess I can quickly go. I really like what you brought up, by the way. I think it's just like it just has to do with dark matter. Probably has just a very like scientific explanation, but not one that we understand yet. So it's still really interesting
Yeah.
because like while I can say it's dark matter, we don't actually understand like dark matter itself. We just know it's a thing that very likely exists, but literally like we can't see it, so we can't study it. We just assume it exists because we can't otherwise explain what the fuck is happening, but we don't actually know it. Just so everyone is clear. So I mean, for all we know, Shannon could be right. It could be fucking spirits. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm very seldom
Okay.
right about anything though. All right, go ahead.
So I'm gonna go over this other little case that I wanted to talk about. This one is a little more scientific. It's still like very on the alien side though, of course, and it is about Oumuamua. Did you hear about this when it happened? The meteor that was like an alien spacecraft. That people thought was an alien spacecraft.
No.
Actually, I don't think you call these. I think you call them asteroids until. No, wait. A meteor is a thing, and then when it enters orbit, it becomes a meteorite. And an asteroid is something different.
Yeah.
I can't believe the article also doesn't like mention exactly what it is. It just says this mysterious object, but I'm gonna call it. I don't want to sound dumb. I'm gonna call it an asteroid. No, fuck that. I'm going to call it a meteor. So the meteor, Oumuamua, in late 2017, this was a meteor. This was a thing that happened. I'm going to send you a picture, but it was this cigar-shaped object. This cigar-shaped... Well, I guess that's why they don't call it meteor, because they literally don't know if that's what it is. The whole article is about, like, what if it's a spacecraft?
Yeah.
So... This alleged meteor called Oumuamua in late 2017, it was, passing through our solar system. It's the first interstellar object that we have recorded in human history, that we've been able to record since we've had the technology to do so, that as far as we know has ever crossed into our solar system. No shit from interstellar space ever penetrates our solar system. But this singular, oh my god, this singular thing did. And of course, the one thing that does is shaped super fucking weird, has constant acceleration for like 100 days or something stupid like that. Sorry, like 100 kilometer constant acceleration for like 30 days, if I remember correctly, which is really strange for an object to have like constant acceleration that doesn't change for that long. If I understand the physics of this correctly, someone correct me if I'm being stupid or wrong, but basically the one object that from interstellar space that enters our solar system, of course, it is super weird. It travels in a weird way. It has a weird trajectory. It sped up as soon as it passed the sun, almost like heading towards us, just to explore though. It never really got close to Earth, which is why some people think that it is a probe. I don't know what to think of this. It's fucking crazy, Shannon. Like, I need to send you a picture. This thing is the size of a football stadium, and it is shaped like a cigar. Like, it's not very wide, and it's very long. It looks like, yeah, like a big ass stick meteor. And so,
I was waiting for that.
and so, a couple of Harvard researchers were saying that they thought that this could be a fully operational probe sent intentionally to Earth's vicinity by an alien civilization in order to study us. And the guy who said this, his name is Avi Loeb. He is the chairman of Harvard's astronomy department. I'm leaving that in, and co-author of a paper. Yeah, astronomy department. And also the co-author of a paper that talked about this very thing that they wrote from Harvard. So it's not just some student at Harvard. And even if it was, a student at Harvard, that's pretty admirable. That person probably has a good intellect. It's not that. He is the head of the university's astronomy department. And he was saying this stuff alongside a colleague that basically they thought it could be a probe. They didn't have like definite evidence, but they certainly had some evidence that was purely scientific. So what they were saying was evidence-based to an extent. They had to say that because there were people that were ridiculing them because they were saying like you lack evidence. Like, when you lack evidence, you should be looking for more evidence instead of finding like ways that you can fit a hypothesis into those like gaps of evidence. And Lowe, the original author of the paper, was responding with like, listen, what I have is in conjecture. It's purely scientific. It's evidence-based. And he said this quote that I like a lot that I got from this NBC article. The guy said, I follow the maxim of Sherlock Holmes. When you have excluded the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. And that's kind of the maxim that he's taking in regards to this topic about the, how do you pronounce this again? The Oumuamua object, we'll call it. That, although it seems very improbable, given that he has, some evidence and he uses scientific method to reach his conclusions, that what he's saying, however improbable, must be the truth. He's not saying it is the truth, but like it could very well be. And I read more into the paper that they actually put out. It's interesting, but it's like a lot of jargon and it's hard to condense. But basically they were saying the things that I mentioned at the beginning, right? That it's the first interstellar object to enter a solar system, that it is shaped in a very, very, very strange manner. Literally looks like a cigar, and that its trajectory was very strange. That, for example, like, it was going at like a certain speed, but then like once it passed around the sun, it's almost as if the sun, like, it's almost as if it was a light sail, the paper mentioned, that it's almost as if this spacecraft, like, anytime it approaches a strong source of light, it like almost like takes up speed. And that's what it seemed to do once it circled around the sun and then started heading towards Earth at a faster speed than it was traveling before. And then, as it was heading to Earth, it was this weird kind of thing where it was like almost like heading straight. And then it took like, whoop, like a little like, it like turned a little as if to not like touch Earth at all. So, and then it left, weird. And now it's exited our solar. Or no, sorry, it hasn't. It's exited like our immediate view. Like, we can't see it with telescopes anymore. But it is gonna be in the solar system for like a long time. But the point is that, like, it passed us humans, but when we saw it, though, we were certainly perplexed. I remember reading a lot of headlines about it, and I thought at the time, and I still certainly think now, that this thing was a spacecraft. And if not a full-on crew spacecraft, at least it was a probe, like something. It was something.
That doesn't that kind of remind you of that case that I covered for one of the UFO episodes where it was like the USS Nimitz, I think. They were flying over the ocean and it was like a
Yes.
cigar-shaped aircraft.
Yes. Dude, I mean, like this is different just because like the meteorite you could tell that it was like made of rock. Well, I think really
Yeah.
it was just the outside that was made of rock, so it looked like a meteor. But other than that, yeah, same shape.
Interesting.
So I know. I mean, what I am presenting is conjecture. Like, I don't have any proof that like aliens disguise their spacecrafts as meteors. Like, I don't know, but I don't know, dude. It was just fucking weird. It was just really fucking weird. Like, why that one thing, and why does it look so weird, and why did
Yeah.
it do the things that it did? Um. Anyway, so
I
that's
mean,
basic. Go ahead. What?
I stand aliens, so I maybe they were just coming to visit, maybe they wanted the best tacos in the galaxy and they knew where to come, you know?
Yeah, as Oumuamua was like passing through Earth, they like they teletransported one or two or a couple of their crew, just like eat really good tacos, and then they like, like beam me up Scotty back into their spacecraft, and they like left, like they like, went on their way like beyond Earth. That's funny.
Yeah. Wow,
So
well that was interesting.
yeah, that's what I have. It's really interesting. Listen, whether or not they're on the moon, or whether or not they're spiders, aliens are fucking real, okay? Aliens are fucking real, and even if they're not here, they're gonna be here soon. They're gonna visit. It's gonna be a party. It's gonna be a fucking rave. We're gonna take them to Area 51 for drinks, or not. I don't know. They're a thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully they'll visit us, for fun, for some
I mean,
shenanigans, you know what I'm
hopefully they'll
saying?
visit you, because well, I love the idea of aliens. Like I've told you before, I'm a big wuss, and I hate the idea of them actually like visiting me or abducting me. I don't want that. I don't want to live through that. But you go ahead and
What
you party with them.
what would you say if I told you that I'm an alien and I've been an alien all along?
I'd be like, wow, I am underwhelmed.
I don't know if I should be insulted, should I? Because on
Um,
one hand, it's like, yeah, you're right, but because it's like, what am I doing with my time that's like alien worthy? But on the other hand, it's like,
oh, but maybe I should be impressed because you convinced me that you were a human. You know?
yeah, that's true. See?
Yeah.
But have you ever really stopped to think
Good
about
point.
whether or not I'm human, or did you just accept it?
I mean, no, because I know you're an android in human skin. And like, I mean, I'm okay with that. I still love you. You're my friend. But no, I don't really sit down and think about that.
Wow. So, okay, that's fine. I did think that you treated me differently than other people, but apparently it's just because you know that I'm an android.
Yeah, I already know that. So
Oh, I'm
that's
glad
why.
we
No,
cleared
don't
the
take any
air.
offense. Um,
Must power down.
um. Oh wait! Oh shit! She's powering down. We have to end the episode. She only charges for like an hour and 10 minutes at a time, everyone. So we have to end this. Well, thank you for listening. If you have any ideas for episode 35, wow, 35. Britney Spears is 35. Anyway, if you have any topic ideas for episode 35, please DM them to us at Talk Scary, or just tweet us, leave us a comment on any of our posts. We don't care. Just let us know of your ideas. And if you haven't already, dropped us a review on really any podcast listening platform, but especially Apple Podcasts. I know that's what a lot of people use. And you can find us on all podcast listening platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play, everywhere. Shannon, anything else?
Yeah, take a look at the moon tonight. Take some time to just think about what's really up there, you know?
Or don't. Have you ever heard of that like Reddit like no sleep story? Don't look at the moon.
Obviously, you told me about it.
Oh, I did. Wait, is that what you were saying? It? Am I being fucking stupid?
You like forced me to like watch it too. I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, everyone go watch that.
Oh, I did. Ugh, no one watched that. It's terrifying. But anyway, look at the moon or don't. I don't know. If you die, we're not held liable. The Mothman is real. Aliens are real. Free Britney, and thank you for listening, everyone. We love you. Till next week. Good night.
Free Britney, bye.